Hello, dear friends. Looking for a message from heaven, I have rediscovered the poet Allen Ginsberg, who influenced me so much. Opinion piece, Revelations, Howl, Sacred Laughter, Vision of Eternity, Crazy Generation, Moloch is the mind, Libraries full of tears, The weight has been hard, Platonic conversationalists, Walt Whitman's cultural legacy, From the mundane to the sacred, America, when will you be angelic? They came out with flowers in their hands. Let's start. Every time I read Allen Ginsberg's head-breaking Howl, I get teary-eyed and start to sweat, because I totally identify with his experience of mystical visions and cosmic vibrations. I am Spanish, but I feel and understand the American dream as if I had been born there. Beat generation rebelled against the misery of the human condition and suffered divine madness. They threw their watches for the root to cast their vote for an eternity outside of time. They studied Plotinus of Alexandria, Edgar Allan Poe, and St. John of the Cross, among others. They drove cross-country to see a vision and experience eternity. Ginsberg was considered a prophet like Walt Whitman, sharing a transcendental vision of poetry. This legacy was manifest not only in his style and themes, but also in his role as a central figure in a literary movement. Just as Whitman was a fundamental influence on culture, Ginsberg became one of the most influential voices of the Beat generation and the counterculture of the 60s. Howl. Ultimately, Howl reveals itself as an affirmation of the human experience in all its forms, however chaotic or marginal. The cry of hope in Allen Ginsberg's Howl is echoed in the poem's final note, where he exclaims, "Everything is holy, everyone is holy, every place is holy, every day is in eternity, every human being is an angel." This literal phrase expresses a profound affirmation of human experience and a hopeful vision despite the heartbreaking and critical imaginary present in the rest of the poem. Ginsberg concludes his work with this statement that elevates the mundane to the sacred, conveying a message of universal transcendence and unity. In quotes, "The world is holy, the soul is holy, the skin is holy, the nose is holy, everything is holy, everyone is holy, every place is holy, every day belongs to eternity, every human being is an angel, the vagabond is as holy as the seraph, the madman is holy, as holy are you, my soul, the typewriter is holy, the poem is holy, the voice is holy, the listeners are holy, the ecstasy is holy. Holy are the solitudes of skyscrapers and sidewalks. Holy are the coffee shops crowded by millions. Holy are the mysterious rivers of tears that run beneath the streets. Holy are the vast flocks of the middle class. Holy are the mad shepherds of rebellion. Holy is time in eternity. Holy is eternity in time. Holy are clocks in space. Holy is the fourth dimension. Holy is the sea. Holy is the desert. Holy is the railroad. Holy is the locomotive. Holy are holy visions, hallucinations. Holy are miracles. Holy is the eyeball. Holy is the abyss. Holy is forgiveness, mercy, charity, faith. Holy is our body, our suffering, our magnanimity. Holy is the supernatural, extra brilliant, and intelligent godness of the soul. Visions, omens, hallucinations, miracles, and ecstasies, all carried away by the American river. Dreams, adorations, illumination, religions, all the cargo of sentimental rubbish. Go ahead, over the river. Flip-flops and crucifixions, all carried away by the current. Balloons, epiphanies, despairs, new loves. Mad generation down on the rocks of time. Real holy laughter in the river. They saw it all. The mad eyes, the holy screams. They say goodbye. They jumped from the roof into the solitude, waving their arms with flowers in their hands, into the river, into the street. Madness. I have seen the best brains of my generation destroyed by madness, starving, hysterical, naked, crawling through the negro streets and down in search of an ugly sting, covering in fear in their underwear in unshaven rooms, burning their money in waste paper baskets, and listening to the sound of terror through the wall. A lost battalion of Platonic talkers, leaping over the handrails of fire escapes from the windows, suffering oriental sweets and tangerine bone cracking and Chinese migraines and the withdrawal of in a squalid furnished room, wandering aimlessly at midnight in the railroad yachts, wondering where to go, and leaving no broken hearts behind. Studying Plotinus of Alexandria, Edgar Allan Poe, St. John of the Cross, telepathy, and Kabbalah, because the cosmos instinctively vibrated at their feet. Who wandered lazily, hungry, and alone through Houston in search of jazz or soup. Who disappeared into the volcanoes of Mexico, leaving behind them only the shadow of their jeans and the lava and ash of poetry scattered in the chimney. Who reappeared on the west coast with beards and in shots, with big erotic pacifist eyes, with their brown skin, distributing an incomprehensible pamphlets. Who distributed pamphlets, sobbing and stripping, while the sirens pursued them with their howls. Who collapsed sobbing in white gymnasiums, bare and trembling before the machinery of other skeletons. Who staggered towards the unemployment offices. Who cried before the charm of the streets with their guts full of onions and bad musics. Who sat on boxes inspiring the darkness under the bridge, and rising to build harpish churches in their attics. Who threw their watches from the roof to cast their boat for an eternity outside of time. Who sang in despair from their windows and fell out of the subway window. Who drove cross country for 72 hours to find out if I had a vision, or you had a vision to know eternity. Who knelt in hopeless cathedrals praying for their mutual salvation, whose soul lit up their hair for a second, who demanded judgments of sanity, accusing the radio of hypnotism. America, America, I have given you everything, and now I am nothing. America, $2.27, January 17th, 1956. I cannot bear my own mind. America, when we will end the war of mankind? Go fuck yourself with your atomic bomb. I don't feel well. Don't bother me. America, when will you be angelic? When you will take off your clothes? When you will be able to look at yourself through the grave? America, why are your libraries full of tears? America, when will you send your ex to India? When can I go into the supermarket and buy what I need just because of my pretty face. Your machinery is too much for me. You make me wish I was a saint. There must be another way to settle this argument. Moloch. What sphinx of cement and aluminium burst their skulls and devoured their brains and their imagination? Moloch. Lowliness, filth, ugliness, garbage cans, and attainable dollars. Children screaming under the stairs. Boys sobbing in the armies. Old people crying in the parks. Moloch's nightmare. Moloch the loveless. Moloch mental. Moloch the merciless judge of men. Moloch incomprehensible prison. Moloch soulless prison of crossbones and congress of afflictions. Moloch whose buildings are verdicts. Moloch the vast stone of war. Moloch the annihilated governments. Moloch whose mind is pure machinery. Moloch whose blood is the flow of money. Moloch whose fingers are 10 armies. Moloch whose chest is a cannibal dynamo. Moloch whose ear is a smoking tomb. Moloch whose eyes are 1,000 blinded windows. Moloch whose skyscrapers rise on the long avenues like endless Jehovah's. Moloch whose factories dream and croak in the fog. Moloch whose chimneys and antennas crown the cities. Moloch whose love is oil and stone without measure. Moloch whose soul is electricity and banks. Moloch whose poverty is the spectre of genius. Moloch whose fate is a cloud of asexual hydrogen. Moloch whose name is the mind. Moloch in whose bosom I settle in solitude. Moloch in whose bosom I dream of angels. Mad in the bosom of Moloch, and loved in the bosom of Moloch. Moloch who perpetrated my soul early. Moloch in whose bosom I am disembodied consciousness. Moloch who terrified me by taking me out of my natural ecstasy. Moloch whom I abandon. Wake up in the bosom of Moloch. The light falls from heaven in torrents. Robotic apartments, invisible suburbs, skeletal treasuries, blind capitals, demonic industries, spectral nations, invisible madhouses, granite penises, monstrous bombs. They broke their backs, elevating Moloch to paradise. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.